Hey friends, and welcome back. Today I'm sharing with you how I painted our kitchen cabinets. Okay, time to get real. I've been putting this off for way too long.
Mama, I'll show you.
It's time to do it.
Mommy,
It's just been really hard.
Mommy, I'll show you.
Yeah, it's time. We're gonna do it. We're gonna paint our cabinets. Let's do it. So the first thing that I did was clean all of our cabinets with TSP, and you just mix it with water. I did half of what the box suggested, that way I could dump it out and get clean water every so often. So I just went ahead and took all of the hardware off of our kitchen cabinetry and gave it a good cleaning. And I just took everything from the drawer or the cabinet, stuck it in a Ziploc bag, and stuck it right back into the same drawer or cabinet. That way all of the hardware was exactly where it needed to be when everything got put back together. Hey. So it's drying with this like residue. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or not, but I'm gonna keep going because it's getting the crud off of it. Reading comprehension. Rinse with warm water. Got it. So halfway through cleaning the kitchen. I'm gonna dump and remake. So all of the first day I just cleaned the cabinetry, and on the second day I was able to prime. I used this Bullseye Zinsser primer to prime all of the cabinets. Even though I painted a lot of things, I've never primed anything, so I was kind of surprised how thin primer is. Just if you've never primed anything either, that might be useful information. But it did go on over all of our cabinets quite well, and it was a nice step just to figure out the best way to paint our specific cabinet. So I went in with a foam brush first into all of the pieces, and then I used the roller to go on top of everything. And I figured out for the second cabinet, my roller just kind of fits right there, so I didn't even have to do the sponge brush really on that part. I just kind of stuck it in to the crevices in the corner to kind of get them covered pretty well, and the, like, I don't know, the lines at the top. Oh look, see, look, the roller did it too. So I did the bottom ones first, which was probably a mistake because now I have to do the top ones, and all the doors are open on the bottom ones. So I'm gonna get creative. I'll just climb up there and do it. I decided to do the painting of the doors with my cabinet doors still attached to the bases, basically because I didn't want to pull them down and have them sit anywhere to dry with 4 kids and 2 dogs running around the house. So I thought this was probably the safest spot for them to be, and I read probably 1,000 blog posts and watched like a million YouTube videos of people painting their kitchen cabinets, and I saw somebody say keeping their doors on worked for them, so I went ahead and gave it a try, and it worked out pretty perfectly for us. So I went ahead and just primed the doors first and got them painted, and then took them down so I could do the back side. I ended up priming the uppers with the doors still on, and that worked out fine too. I didn't do that to the bottom because it had the drawers that I needed to take out completely. On day 3, I went ahead and painted the cabinets with Valspar cabinet enamel. I used Urban Sunrise was the color that we did, and I just did kind of the same process I did with the primer for the doors. So I just went in through the tops with my sponge brush and went back with a roller and tried to roll over everything that even the sponge brush touched, just to kind of smooth everything out. With this paint, it's self-leveling, which is great because you don't really have to worry about it all that much, but you do have to watch for any drips. So you have to be careful if you see drips, mostly because I was painting them while they were hanging. My drips happened on the vertical parts, the like inlays, like the parts that I just painted, the vertical parts right there, and kind of in the corners. So I just made sure after I painted my second one, I would go back to the first one and get the drips out. This whole process went fairly quickly once I kind of established a rhythm with it. Also, you can see that I have external hardware on my cabinetry, so you can see them kind of sticking out on the right side of these cabinets, which made it a little bit more difficult, but I just kind of stuck my foam brush back there when I primed them, and it wasn't necessarily a terribly big deal when I was painting the cabinets themselves. When I did have the doors down for a day, I just ran a coat across just that one side, and it was fine. Looks a little patchy when it dries for the first coat as it's drying, but when it's drier, it looks better and darker. You do want to make sure that as everything is drying, you leave it open so it doesn't dry and it gets stuck and then you can't open your cabinets. And every day after I was done painting, I just stuck everything into Ziploc bags so I could use the same roller and brush each day. Okay, so this is day 4, Thursday, day 4. On yesterday, day 3, I painted the tops twice. I painted once in the morning and then waited over 6 hours, 8 hours, over 8 hours, and I painted them a second coat. So the top doors are done. I'm gonna do a second coat on the bottom doors this morning. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. So then we can take the doors off and prime the bottom tonight and do a top coat on the top. Take the doors down and do a top coat. A gray coat on the top tonight. Hey. I was clearly already getting confused, so I chose to do it over a couple days. You want to be conscious of the dry time of your paint. Like I said, this Valspar paint requires at least 8 hours before you put a second coat on. I also was trying to do most of the work within a 3-hour time period while my kids were away for the day. So I was doing a lot of the work by myself and a lot of the work in a short amount of time, and I was still able to kind of get a lot done on this kitchen and had it completely painted in about 7 days. And here I'm just showing you that hardware again that is on the outside, and I'm just going to save that side of the cabinet to paint when they're all down in just a day, and taking a little snuggle break with Erin. So once those top doors were down, I just went back with my brush and some primer, and I just primed those spots where the hardware was. And because my cabinetry is so old, I really didn't want to take any hardware off if I didn't have to, so I just used a foam brush to paint that edge that I left there, and just used a foam brush and went carefully around the hardware, and that was it. So then I was able to go and paint the bases of my cabinets. I don't think I've ever looked so closely to cabinetry in my life, but now I am, right? So I really think even if I do have a drip here or a drip there that I may have missed, no one's really going to stare that closely to my cabinets, and I'm really happy with the results as it is. So with painting the back, I just did the same thing as the doors, but it was a lot easier since nothing was really in the way, and I could just use my foam roller for most of it. We decided not to paint the insides of our cabinets. Again, they're really old. Some of them had holes and splinters in them that we had to kind of patch over with wood filler before we could even prime and paint them. So these cabinets are not going to last much longer. Also, I felt if I painted the inside of the door, it would just kind of lead to like a snowball effect where like, where does it end? Do I paint the like inside of the cabinetry? Do I paint the shelves? Do I paint the back? I don't know. So I was fine just painting the fronts. I should have mentioned this when I took the uppers off, but make sure you label your doors and where they go back when you take them off. That way you know exactly where they go, where you put them back. So again, even taking off these doors, I took the screws and everything and stuck them right back in that baggie that I have all of the hardware on. This is obviously going to be optional and depending on your own cabinetry, but I decided that I was going to spray paint my external hardware so it kind of matched and we didn't have to replace it. Again, since they were so old, I really didn't want to try to mess with adding anything new to them because I was just afraid that they would disintegrate. So I just taped the sides off and used this spray paint to spray them in a satin nickel finish. And anything that didn't get hit with the spray paint, I just used my spray paint and kind of sprayed a puddle onto some paper and used a brush to go ahead and get where the spray paint wouldn't reach. And then I just went ahead and carefully took off the tape that was surrounding the cabinetry, and if anything lifted up, I just kind of touched that up. I did the same thing with all of our handles. And once the spray paint on the hardware was all dried, we were able to put our doors back on our cabinets, and we only had them down for about a day, 2 days, maybe 2 days. And we were able to know exactly where they go since we labeled them and screw them right into place. I spray painted the hardware on all of the doors in our house too, and the hardware in the hinges has held up really well. So that's why I decided to go ahead and spray paint that again. And really the handles, if we need to kind of replace them as we go, we for sure can do that. But you know, I have these and spray paint was $6, so we'll give this a shot and see how it goes to begin with. I don't even use the handles to open the cabinets. I don't know if that's weird or not, but I just don't. Let me know in the comments if you use your pulls to open your cabinets or do you just open your cabinet? So I don't know. So we'll see how they do. And you just have to reattach everything back into your kitchen and you are good to go. And then you can take a nap because you're gonna need it because it's a lot of work. I'm really excited with how these turned out. I love them so much. I really like working with the Valspar cabinet paint. I have used the furniture paint before, and that's what made me decide to use the cabinet paint as well. So this is a before of what our kitchen looked like, and here is another before, and here are some after pictures. And I think it just makes the whole kitchen look so much brighter. And I'm really excited, and I don't know really what took us so long. So if you're thinking about painting your cabinets, just do it. Just do it. There's 1,000 ways to do it, and I don't really think you can mess up if you're following the instructions on the paint that you're choosing. I know there's lots of different ways to do it. Do your research and do it. You'll love it, I promise. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, you can find more from us here. Make sure you subscribe so you can follow all of our adventures. Give it a big thumbs up and let me know down in those comments if you are going to paint your cabinets. What color would you paint them? Bye, guys.